Yes, good morning. So, this is from Constance again. How are you today? So, I frequently get asked, what's the best way to spend time at an ashram, especially at the Isha Yoga Center, because that's the ashram in India where I spent 3 years. And people who go there sometimes wonder how to spend their time there, how long to stay, what kind of programs to take. Will I be able to meet the Guru, Sadhguru? And so I just want to go through some of these questions. And if you have any other more questions, just drop a comment below and I'll try to get back to you with a follow-up video on this. So first of all, it's important to understand that ashram, what it is. It means it's a place of work, literally, where you work on yourself, and that means the whole space is kind of, made in such a way that it facilitates this, that it gives you the focus and the tools that you need to do this inner kind of work on yourself. And so at the Isha Yoga Center, for example, which is the ashram that I always go to because, it's the most powerful place I know. There's different programs you can take. There's introductory programs, advanced programs. If you're new there, if you never went before, the first program you should do is called Inner Engineering. It's a very foundational and very powerful program where you learn a meditation technique. I did a separate video about Inner Engineering. You can check that out. Just search for Inner Engineering on the channel. And that by itself is very powerful. And then you can do also more advanced programs. You can do Hatha Yoga programs. It doesn't really matter that much which one you do. You just go with the one that are offered at the time. You can't really go wrong. But at the same time, you should also know that it doesn't necessarily mean, the more programs you do in the shortest period of time, the better. These yoga practices are very much about going into depth and, fully immersing yourself in them, rather than just doing as many as you can, as fast as you can. So don't be too over concerned about doing too many programs. Whatever is offered, you do that. So when you go there to the ashram, actually as a guest the first time, I think you can stay up to 2 weeks. That is if you haven't done any program. Once you have completed the program and you want to stay for longer durations, you can do that also. And usually there's also an option to stay as a volunteer. But that only really is possible if, it depends. You need to be there, you need to ask them. Because it depends how many people there are currently there, they have limited capacity. And also they want to see that you're really dedicated and, focused on your growth. Because obviously at a place like this, all kinds of people come and go all the time. So they need to make sure that you're dedicated. And they have different types of stays there. You can go like really low budget, you can go really high budget. Just make sure you get in touch with them early on at certain periods in the year. It's fully it's very crowded there. For example, at Mahashivratri, which is usually end of February, early March, the place is fully booked. So there are other instances like this. You just need to make sure to check early on. They have all their programs even listed on the website. There's a program finder, and you can even check Sadhguru's public schedule if you want to know where he has conducted public programs and events. So when you're at the ashram, you might be lucky to meet him. If he's there, he usually holds darshans or satsangs in the evening with the people there. So he speaks to them in groups of people and he offers meditations. But that might not always be the case. And because he's like traveling a lot these days. You can check in advance with the local like contact, which you find on the website, but just I would say don't be overly too concerned about it, because he basically set up the whole space in such a way that you can access all the tools and the consecrated spaces that are there without him having to be there. There are powerful spaces there, temples and consecrated spaces, which are kind of prepared in a yogic way, which goes beyond my understanding, but they are basically charged and with some form of energy, which are stored there in the form of a linga, which is an energy form. And once you become more receptive, you can definitely experience that in many ways. And in the different temples, they have different kind of rituals, which are not about religion, but they're just about the yogic way of making these energies kind of vibrant and accessible to you. So the best way to go there is to be very open-minded, to leave away all your beliefs about what you think yoga should be like. You might have been exposed to so many forms of yoga, especially in the West, and when you go there you might see things that you've never been exposed to, and you might be thinking, what the hell is this? Just be open, and basically see what it does to you before making any judgments. So because yoga at the end is all about the inner exploration of ourselves, so don't focus too much on the external things. I think this is basically giving you some idea. So go there with an open mind, just do as many programs as you can, and most importantly also just go with what the volunteers give you, in terms of guidance. The volunteers there, they are given, they have been given guidance by Sadhguru on how to guide you as a visitor and guest, and what kind of tools and schedule to offer you. One main thing in the ashram is always volunteering. Volunteering means, and I also did another video about this, check it out on the channel, just search for volunteering, what it means to be a volunteer. Basically it's about, getting rid of your likes and dislikes. So it's a process which, by doing work, which is, it could be random work, it could be sweeping the floor, it could be cutting vegetables in the kitchen, or all kinds of work. But the idea is that you do this with full involvement, without thinking about what do I get out of it and so forth, because you're not paid, you just do it, and it might be work which is not the kind of work you usually do if you're highly educated. So the idea is that you break inner limitations, you get rid of your likes and dislikes, and the whole purpose is that by doing so we become more available and more open to just what's going around us, what's going on around us, and especially to become more accessible to the energies, because we become in a more open and receptive state, and therefore we are also more receptive to the subtle forms of energies that are either around there in the space, in the temples and so forth, or even that we try to access through these yogic practices. So just go with what the volunteers tell you, and you might think, oh, what is this stupid guy telling me to do now, and so forth. But when these thoughts pop up, just let them come and go. That's how our mind works. But just go with it, and remember that everything there is designed in such a way that you can work on yourself. Alright guys, this is it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, leave a comment if you have more questions, and I see you next week.